Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Welcome. Good morning. I feel like we don't get to spend a lot of time together. So I'm very grateful to be here this morning. It is Wednesday, December the 6th. I cannot believe it. It is the first Wednesday in December 2023, Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. And I want to welcome you to Purpose Journey Counseling, LLC, Reloaded. We are still reloaded for 2023. Now, you know the clock is ticking and we are winding down. We're winding down, but it's still 2023, so we're still reloaded. So we want to say good morning to you. It is 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we want to say good morning to you. We want to welcome you. And we are live at 7:15, but whether you're catching us live at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or you catch us later in the day, later in the week, later in the month, or even later in the year, we still want to say good morning to you. We want to greet you this morning with a smile and greet you this morning with a rise and shine this morning. My name is Dr. Natatu North, and I'm the owner and therapist of Purpose Journey Counseling, LLC, which is located in Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio. So like I said, we are live. We're live. We're live on our platforms. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, X, I'm going to keep doing it, formerly known as Twitter. And we also have posted the YouTube link for this broadcast on Instagram. So we ask that everyone just take just a few moments. Please like this broadcast, like our pages on your preferred social media platform. Please follow us also on your preferred social media platform. And let's please subscribe to YouTube, our YouTube channel. Even if you don't watch us on YouTube, it's okay. But we do ask that you please subscribe and also please share this broadcast and then any other broadcast that you've seen. We've done a lot over the course of the last year and a half, actually. We started in June of 2022 with doing a lot of these videos and our podcast, which is monthly. In the last couple of months, we've slowed down just a bit to kind of revamp for all the things that are in store for 2024, be it the Lord's will. But there's a lot of good things on there. These broadcasts are meant to be encouraging. They're meant to touch us in different ways with the different things that we deal with to provide support. Yes, there's, laughter and some entertainment, I don't want to say entertainment, but just like it speaks to us in different ways. And I'll say some lightheartedness about a lot of our podcasts or videos as well. However, just take a moment just to kind of look and let's interact and engage in the comment section. And that's one of the biggest parts of that and how it kind of touches us and we're able to interact with each other. I'm talking podcasts, we have guests a lot of the times, but people still have comments. And when we're interacting and we're engaging with each other, it's very, very powerful discussion and dialogue. So just want to invite you just to check out our social media platforms. If this is the first time that you've ever tuned into anything with Purpose Journey Counseling, LLC, Reloaded, we want to say good morning and welcome. But please feel free, check us out and just look at some of those things. It can definitely just empower and encourage you and inspire you on today. So before we go too far, one of the things we do, I do share a couple of numbers with you, again, for support, for resources. The first number is the number for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. This number is 24/7. Dr. Natatu, why are you sharing this number? So we have it available. We never know if we may need it, someone else may need it. So please make sure you have this information in your phone. When crises come up, it's hard to know what to even do. And sometimes it's hard to even be able to think in those moments. So if we know we've got stuff available, we know we have a number, we may not know what they're going to, that's okay. You don't have to know past that, but we can make sure that we're giving out this number or even using it if we need to. The second number is for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. That number is 988. Again, that's 988. This number is 24/7 as well. You can also text this number, 988. Very easy, 988. So again, let's make sure we have these numbers stored in our phones that we can use them, share them as needed. We want to make sure that we have tools available, especially this time of year. This time of year can be very rough for a lot of us. And that's actually what we're getting ready to talk about. So for the months of, and I'm going to put this back up there because this is our graphic, but for the months of November and December, we have pivoted a bit. We're doing what we're calling Wellness Wednesdays. Wellness Wednesdays live at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so on Wellness Wednesday, we always have a topic, something that we're just going to talk about, something that we're going to discuss. It's good to have like these midweek, we've done check-ins and stuff like that, but these midweek conversations, these midweek inspirational messages and things of that nature. Because if we face it, if we're honest with ourselves, life, we say this all the time, life is lifing. And it's important for us to be mindful of what we're dealing with, but also to be mindful of how we're managing it. A lot of things happen in life. It's not even necessarily your fault that it happened, but how are you going to manage it? What are you going to do with it when it happens? So what we're going to talk about for this Wellness Wednesday is seasonal depression. Now, last year, in 2022 in December, I believe it was, we did, it was, I think November, I think of last year. We did our podcast on the holiday blues and managing and navigating through the holiday blues. And that was specifically geared towards the holidays, and seasonal depression was basically a foundation of that podcast that kind of what inspired us to do that podcast last, I'm pretty sure it was in November. However, I want to talk a little bit about seasonal depression this morning because it's a real thing. It's tough around this time of year. So for some of us, it starts in like September. The days are starting to get shorter. So it gets darker earlier. The temperature starts to change. And a lot of times people think that, we just complain about it being cold just because we don't like the cold. No, the cold actually sometimes really affects us mentally. And when the sun's not shining as much, or even sometimes when it's sunny, but it's so cold, sometimes those days could be a little bit easier, but it's very, very complicated. Sometimes it's very, very difficult. Particularly if people have lost loved ones, either around the holidays or even just in general. The holidays become difficult for those of us who work late, and it gets dark at 5:30. You're at work and you're like, wow, I'm nowhere near done with my day, but it's already dark. It makes me feel like I need to go to sleep. So a lot of times people sleep more. Their moods or our moods sometimes just kind of go like this, or sometimes, we try to start here and it just kind of plummets throughout the day. Seasonal depression is real. Not everyone experiences seasonal depression in the fall/winter. Some people, it's actually in the spring and summer. Not everyone experiences it at the same time. However, the vast majority of people who do experience seasonal depression is usually this time of year. And a lot of it has to do with, like I said, the lack of light. The holidays are not always a joyous occasion for everyone. And the reason why we talk about seasonal depression is to make sure that we're aware. You want to notice, you want to be aware if you're experiencing it, so that you know how to manage it. And you also want to be aware if people around you are, because sometimes you say, "Oh, just perk up. Oh, just get up." You don't know, why are they sleeping so much? Why are they sitting in the dark room? Why are they not excited about the holidays? Why do they not want to be bothered with the holidays? We need to know how to respect where people are, but at the same time, still try to be, as supportive and as encouraging as possible. Sometimes the most encouragement you can do for someone is just letting them know that you're there. Sometimes somebody just needs to hear that. They may not ask for help. They may not tell you that they're experiencing seasonal depression. You may not have think you have a clue, but you're not really sure because they haven't really stated anything. And sometimes just letting them know that you're supporting them and letting them know that you're there if and ever they want to talk. Sometimes that's what they need. But one of the things we don't want to do, we don't want to push people. We don't want to judge people. We don't want to make people feel bad for how they already are feeling bad. They're already feeling bad. We don't want to make people feel bad for feeling bad. We don't want to do that. At the same time, though, we also have to be careful with isolation. That's one of the biggest things that happens a lot of time with seasonal depression. We tend to isolate. And one of the ways to really, really pin down isolation, first of all, you got to be aware that you're isolating. But like if you're trying to get out of that isolation, you're trying to get out of that funk, one of the biggest things to do is to stay active. And when I say active, I don't just mean being busy. I don't just mean being, doing busy stuff just to say you're checking off boxes and you're getting stuff done, but intentionally planning. And by intentionally planning, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get out of the house at 6:00 in the evening, even on a weekend, because it's dark on the weekends too. It's not just during the week. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to leave the house. But even if you're staying at home, even if you're within your own home, doing things inside the home, to be active, to move around, to not try to just sit and sleep. And sleep is a beautiful thing. We joke about it all the time on here about needing rest. We do need rest. However, we're not hibernating. And that's the thing. We want to avoid that hibernation spirit of feeling like we just need to be in the bed because it's dark at 5:30. You go to bed early, sometimes that's fine. But it's really, really important for us to be very intentional about how we're spending our time. What are we doing? Being very mindful of how we're feeling and knowing that you're not the only one. If you experience seasonal depression, or maybe this is the first time you're noticing like something's a little bit off about me. This isn't my norm. This isn't typically how I respond to this time of year. Seasonal depression is real. It's real. There's a lot of different factors. And of course, we don't have time to go into everything, but I just wanted to speak to it, for our Wellness Wednesday this morning, just to know that it's normal. You're not alone if you're experiencing it. There are ways to combat seasonal depression. Getting up and getting active is one of the things. Being aware that it's even happening is another thing. And understanding that this too shall pass. Could be a long few months. And like I said before, for some people, it starts in September. And then kind of between October and November. Usually by now it's pretty much hit full force because our weather has shifted. It has changed. But it's very, very important that we're aware of how we're feeling, that we're utilizing our resources and our tools, even, sometimes reaching out to, people saying, I just want you to know this is a tough time for me. Just keep me in mind. So it's being on both sides. Sometimes we experience seasonal depression and we know people that experience it too. And sometimes it's really, really hard to be in that boat. Because to be an encourager, to be a supporter for someone else when you really need to support yourselves, sometimes the two of you can actually support each other, or the group of you can actually support each other. So it's making sure that we are supportive, again, not judgmental, understanding that not everybody deals with things the same way. We could get that through our thick skulls. That would change the world if we understand that. Not everybody responds to everything the same way. So we're not going to judge. We're not going to do that. However, we definitely want to make sure that we're giving people the opportunity to express how they're feeling, but also giving them, maybe a little bit of space, but again, not to the point of completely isolating ourselves. Even if you have to take a day, okay, you can take a day, but let's not, amp it up to where it turns out to now, man, it's been weeks and no one's heard from you, no one's seen you, or you've only been to work and that's it. So there's a lot more that we could talk about, but we're getting short on time this morning, but I just wanted to share that with you this morning. So seasonal depression is real. Let's be aware of it. Let's make sure that we are addressing it, whether it's within ourselves or other people. Let's make sure that we're being the support. Let's make sure that we're actually loving on each other this time of year. Again, it can be very, very tough. And we don't want to overlook that. So we thank you so much just for taking the time just to kind of go through this morning. You can feel free to, like I said, interact and engage in the comment section. You don't have to share anything you don't want to, but it's just good to know that we are in this together. We are a community. So we need to make sure that we are acting as such. So again, thank you so much for that. So it is again December, and our next episode of hashtag from a Christian, hashtag from a therapist with Dr. Natatu, episode 16. This is our podcast. Will be on Sunday, December 24th. Yes, it will be on Christmas Eve, not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a special Christmas Eve edition. So please pay attention because our graphics will be going out to let you know what we're going to be doing on December 24th. So plan to be there, whatever you're doing with your families. It's going to be definitely family. Obviously, everything we're doing here is family appropriate. So it'll be family appropriate. And it could be, it's going to be a very, very lovely addition to some traditions that we have as we're together, if we're opening presents, if we're reading the Christmas story, things like that. It's going to be definitely a very lovely addition to our traditions and things that we'll be doing. So mark your calendars if you haven't already. Christmas Eve, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be our podcast. And please pay attention. Like I said, our graphics, our flyer will be posted very soon. So we do appreciate that. So again, we thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're just praying for all of you on today during this time, during this season, that the Lord will just lift our spirits and just will keep us in perfect peace as we navigate through the challenges of the season and just the challenges of life in general, but that we will, continue to uplift each other, continue to encourage and empower one another as the community that we are. So Lord willing, we will be back. It'll be 2 weeks from now for the third Wednesday in December. The third Wednesday, so it'll be 2 weeks from today, which will be the 20th. So right before Christmas, we'll be back again for Lord willing for our Wellness Wednesday live at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please plan to join us. Please plan to continue to interact and engage with us. Like I said, we've got a lot of different videos and you could watch them at anytime. So let's make sure, we're still staying connected. I know I said we're not live as much, but let's make sure that we are staying connected during this time. We do appreciate your viewership. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you supporting one another. We appreciate that. And we are appreciative definitely to God for allowing us to have this platform to be able to reach out and to speak to each other. So again, we thank you so much for joining us. We pray that you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday and blessings and love.